feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip my break.
For a minute there, it seemed like this day was just never going to come. But I am happy to report that we are finally talking about the interior finishes of the home. Hey there, my name is Yami. I am your Latina next door. Welcome back to mi casa. I do have some workers in the background, so you may hear them, but I needed to get this video out, so I am trying to be as far away from the noise as possible. For these past couple of weeks, we have been in here nonstop getting things done. We have been tiling bathrooms, we have been putting up interior trim, and we've also been working on the stonework, which is what we're going to talk about today. Now, for today's video, I want to focus on the fireplace, which is going to be the focal point of our centermost area in our home, which is the living space. Now, it's not 100% finished. We still have several steps to go. However, I wanted to talk about the stone because the stone is a big deal. And I kind of want to give you an idea of what this space is going to feel like, look like, and share some images of what I want to go on in the space, which I think would be really fun. Now, both my husband and I had some requirements for our fireplace. Mine were more aesthetic, his were more practical. And because of this, we needed to hire an actual stonemason, or we felt comfortable with the things that we wanted out of it to hire an actual stonemason to build it from the ground up. We wanted this to be an actual, completely solid piece. So my husband found a stonemason and he's actually been doing this for like 17 years. The gentleman was super nice. We told him exactly what we wanted and he knew exactly what to do. My husband was very particular. He wants to be able to put a wood stove in the center of it and actually use the wood stove to heat at least the first floor of our home. Now, just so that you understand, we do have HVAC systems. We have two of them, one for the first floor and one for the second floor. And they are fed by our propane gas tank out here. So we will have heated HVAC to warm our home. However, my husband wanted to also have a real working wood stove to help heat the home as well. It's a different type of heat. He prefers that type of heat, and it also helps save on costs in the wintertime. Also, we've been here a couple of winters already, and we have really rough winters, and sometimes so rough that we end up losing power. And even though my husband wired this house to be generator ready, especially for those times when we do lose power, my husband still wanted an alternative method of heating up the home should any of that happen in any future winter storms. So he really wanted his bases covered, and he really wanted a practical fireplace. Now, as for me, I wanted to have a stone fireplace that resembled that of an English cottage. I wanted that stone. We've lived in a previous home where we did have one. And while that stone was a little bit different, it was stacked a little bit different and it was much darker. I still like the concept of it. However, I wanted the larger stone faces to face the front. I didn't want like the little bits of stacked stone. No, I wanted it to look like those old English cottages with the mortar in between. And I wanted it to be a lighter stone. So we actually went to one of the locations that was recommended by the stonemason to get manufactured stone. So it's not real stone that we have on there. It is manufactured. It's like a cement blend that they mold and they dye and make look like different colors. Now, the actual chimney that's in our living room is built completely by cinder block. Nelson wanted to make sure that because we're going to be putting a wood stove in there, everything was going to be protected around it. Now, it might be overkill because we have seen little wood stove with just tile around it or a couple of panels behind it close to the wall, and they're just fine. But for us, Nelson just wanted to be sure that all of the wood around the area and the house was protected from any heat that might be too extreme coming out of the wood stove. So he wanted it completely out of cinder block. And that's what they did first. After that was done, we didn't even see our stonemason for like almost a year because we had to wait till the drywall was up and done before he can come in and put the stone on the outside of it. We made sure to get the stones for the hearth as well as all the stone to cover the fascia as well as the interior of the opening of the fireplace. Now, this same stone is going on the front entrance of the house surrounding our front door. However, I'll talk about that and I'll share all of that content for when I do the video on the front entrance because there's a lot of different things going on there as well. Now, before we can do any work on the actual fireplace, Nelson and I had to figure out where we wanted the mantle. We needed to figure out how high off the ground we wanted it, as well as how thick we wanted it. So me and him began just kind of taping the area and trying to figure out. And you know what's so funny is that we had a size in mind and I taped it out and I almost got it absolutely exactly to that size, which was kind of funny without even measuring it. So I taped it out at first, kind of gave him, the visual that I kind of was gravitating towards. And he came back in with the tape measure and he made sure that everything was nice and lined up and even on both sides and perfect. So we actually ended up putting a temporary 2x8 in the area where we did not want them to put stone. That way we can remove it later and then apply a faux wood mantle that we're going to add on later on. Nelson would love to have a real, like, piece of wood solid from a tree or a barn or whatever, but that's not in the budget right now. And we've actually done that before. We've built our own faux mantle or faux beam mantle. We did that in the last house and it turned out really good. So I know we have the skills to do that. So that's something that we still have yet to complete. But it was good to have that, space marker there so that we don't have to worry about having to, take any rocks off or any extra mortar off. We know that that space is exactly the size that we want it. So it was good that we did that first. Now, once the stone was delivered and the mantle was blocked off, it was time to let the guys know that we were ready for them to come and do the stone install. This was actually a lot of fun for me to watch. This only took them 2 days to complete. And of course, the first day was installing the stone and then leaving it to sit overnight to dry and harden. And then the next day they would come back in and then they would fill in the spaces between the stone with more mortar. Now, this is the only thing that was not planned. I had planned originally to have white mortar between the stones, and we got white mortar mix and everything was fine. But when we mixed it with the sand, it took on kind of like the color of the sand. So it ended up being like a creamy taupe color. Now, because the mortar mix was more on the white side, it did lighten it up a little bit, but it wasn't what I had originally planned on having. However, it was totally fine. It doesn't look bad at all, and it actually matches the paint color that I'm going to put in that space very well. So it wasn't a terrible mistake. It's something that I could work with. Now, the next thing that we have to do as far as the fireplace is concerned is to hook up the actual wood burning stove. Now, we actually have one already, but it's not the one that's going to end up being there forever. We ordered one for our cottage before I had our baby girl. And we thought we were going to have enough time to install it before she came. But, things kind of came quickly. We had other projects and stuff to do that were more important, and the baby came and we never got to install it. So the one that we have that we're going to put there right now temporarily is a much smaller one than what we're going to end up with. However, since we have it, since it needs to be used, we want to go ahead and install it here. And later on, we'll focus on getting the one that we really want. Of course, we want a bigger one, so it'll be a bit of an expense. So at this point, it's kind of a good thing that we have one here already that we can use while we kind of save up a little bit for the one that we really want. Now, as far as what I want to do in this living space, I really want to bring the coziness that our last living space had, as well as our keeping room in the house before that we used to have. I know we've lived in so many houses, but there was a coziness of those two spaces that I kind of want to merge together in this space. The walls are going to be like a taupey grayish. They're going to be a little bit more on the warm side instead of the gray side. And it's the same color that I'm taking throughout the kitchen and the dining room and the foyer, and it's just gonna all flow. Now, this color is Sherwin-Williams Symmetry, but I customized it a little bit and I lined it by 50% because I don't know if this happens to you. I will see a color on one of those little paint swatch samples and it'll look perfect, but then you get that exact same color and on the wall it looks way darker. But I have found that if you lighten it by 50%, you get the color that's on the card. Even though if you put the card up on the wall, it does end up being the same color, but somehow on the little piece of paper, it looks lighter. I don't know. I don't know if that happens to you guys, but it happens to me. So lightening it up by 50% was just a perfect formula. We're going to be bringing our old furniture in from our last living space. It's still good, it's still function. I think I even have a brand new slip cover that I haven't used. And of course, this is all due to practicality and saving on costs. I'm not going to start buying a whole bunch of new furniture for this new house. I do have to be practical in this sense. And honestly, I have some really pieces of furniture that I kept in our last house. I did sell some pieces that I didn't need, but I kept the ones that I truly loved, and I'll be using them in the spaces differently in this house. So while it's something that I already have, there's going to be a sense of familiarity and comfort in that because it's what I know, but it's all going to feel different in these spaces. Of course, with the right accessories and different things here or there and colors and just accents, I think it'll be its own unique space regardless of us using some furniture that we already have. Now, one of the things that I do need to get new is window treatments for our large windows that go into the back patio. The sun sets behind our house, so the sun does come in there quite intensely in the evenings. So I will have to have something practical and nice and new to fit those doors because they're so tall. And I didn't have anything like that in our last house. Also, eventually, I would love to have some built-ins put in to the right of the fireplace to, have a really nice nook and actually put our TV there. We're not going to be putting a TV on top of the fireplace. It's too pretty to cover up all that stone. And we have other places to watch TV already in the house. So I would rather have a smaller TV in the little nook besides the living space so I still have the option of watching something during the day when I'm at home, but the kids are going to have their own space to watch TV. Nelson and I will have our own space. It's just not necessary to have a big one right there in the living room. So we're going to save that for the nook. Of course, I'm bringing in several different pieces of lighting and different textures and a rug in the center. And we're going to have the nice luxury vinyl plank floors down. So it's all just going to feel very homey. I have several rugs that I can choose from in storage right now. So we'll see which one I end up going with. And then I'm probably going to be using our old coffee table that we had in our last house as well. So I just have to kind of see how it's all going to work out. But it's going to be fun putting that space together and making those pieces that I decide on using in this space unique to this area. So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to look beautiful. I just want to bring in that hominess, that comfort, but also keeping that elegance that I always truly enjoy. And I probably will keep things fairly neutral, not because I want to be void of color or anything like that, but I actually like to change the accessories through different seasons. So having that neutral base is just going to allow me to change things up for the holidays, and I don't have to stick to one kind of, palette all the time. So there's going to be so much room for DIYs and decorating and new ideas and new things that I can feature in this space. And I am truly looking forward to every one of them. So yeah, let me know what you think of the fireplace and how it turned out. Do you like the mortar in between being this creamy beigey color instead of a white? Tell me what you think about the placement of where we're going to put the mantle. If you guys have any ideas or suggestions of what I can do in this space, that would be great. Let me know what you guys think about what I do plan on doing and incorporating in there so far. There's going to be so many things to work with. I know that once I get my storage units emptied and I start opening things up, there's going to be things in there that I totally forgot that I even had. And I told Nelson we're probably going to have a move in sale because I'm probably going to get rid of a lot of things that I just don't think would be necessary for this space. I am in a moment right now in time where I can actually see that it's going to happen, that it's almost here. And I'm really excited. So that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. And again, let me know your thoughts below in the comments. Thank you all so much for being such great sports and joining us along the way and being so patient with us while we do this build. It's just so nice to be in this stage now, finally. So yeah, I will see you guys back here in the next episode. Until then, adios.
I've been feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight